Alrighty, so we have BLEP versus RNG, or as they like to be known, intended as working. We have a Kremlin Musashi, Massachusetts, and an King Albert. Oh man. Is that correct? That's 31 points. We've got 27, and that's 31. Yeah, okay, 31 points each. So the kick here is each side can have 31 tier points to work with. So you could have 3 tier 10s and a tier 1 battleship, but obviously that doesn't exist. So they've elected for, on the BLEP side, a tier 10, a tier 9, a tier 8, and then a lowly King Albert with his 41,000 health and probably moving at the speed of slow. Whereas over here we have a triple tier 9 FDG, which is a pretty tough customer actually for tier 9. A Gangnut, which is the lowly tier 10. Then we got a Musashi with the gigantic guns that can overpen from the front nose of a battleship, and a Georgia. They look pretty spread out. Gonna be in for a little bit. They got the slow wait going. Okay, over on RNG side, looks like they're grouping up for power, and they're going to give some assistance to the Gangnut while they've got the Georgia going wide, which makes sense because the Georgia actually has like an afterburner in the back of that battleship. She's ready to just burn. Super fast, zoom zoom, doing the thing. Over on the BLEP side, they're going for a more even-handed approach with the Kremlin, kind of grouping with the Massachusetts. Massachusetts is sort of like a tier 8 Georgia, so the Georgia actually has the advantage on that. I'm not exactly sure what the Massachusetts speed is, but I know that the Georgia can take off like a rocket. And in fact, pretty soon here, the Georgia might be detected by the Albert. I don't know if the Albert gets detected by the Georgia. That I'm actually not sure. No, the Georgia does not see the Albert. The Albert gets to play scout in this. Unfortunately, I don't think the Musashi is going to have a shot. No. So at this point, the Albert goes, oh god, he's turning. And there's the shells from the Georgia. That's going to be a severe chunk. He's already down a fair amount of his health. And with the secondaries coming in, the Albert's going to be covered in armor that those secondaries are going to rip through. So the only thing he can do is just run behind the island and use the power of prayer. Okay. Going back to all teams, we have the doubled up FDG with the Gangnut, and the Musashi is actually breaking free to just hold. Looks like he's just going to be sitting down on this place waiting for somebody to take C and be able to brace against it. While the FDG is looking to be a battering ram, which is a little bit surprising. FDG has a lot of, has better angling when she's angled out. So we might actually see, well, CV Uncle, I don't know, probably turn and orient the rear of his ship off if they're looking to grab B and hold A. If they're looking for just a wall push where this George is able to kind of dig in, FDG would need to do that. Musashi holding the flank, but we've got BLEP in the Massachusetts B about to take Charlie. Still covered with the island, not detected. If he just hangs out for a little bit, he's going to be okay. Meanwhile, fighters being used to try to spot. Is it working? No, fighters not actually giving information over there. Soon, maybe, but not yet. Going back to the wide angle, we've got the Albert who has ducked behind and is basically stuck in a pinch. Gangnut's hanging back, which basically is a scout battleship, so he's really just chilling. Fighter's not giving any additional information. Lord Cable is now dug in. Musashi's pulling back, trying to look for an angle. The FDG is still bow in. Still bow into what's coming. Kremlin's got shots on him. King Albert staying safe. Massachusetts looking to deal with a Musashi. I don't know if he keeps up the citadel, or if he keeps up the secondary pressure. And that's not even going to be for very long. He's already outside of range. No? 11-3. This Musashi just kind of starts backing up. You pull out. I mean, the Massachusetts will start to back up too. As long as the Mass can keep him in secondary shell distance, that's going to be constant fires. Musashi's got the bigger, better guns than the mass, but the fact that it'll just have endless resetting fire pressure. Okay, Gangnut is now moving up. He's actually getting into the fight, which is a little surprising since he's the little bro in this one. FTG's got secondary pressure on the Kremlins. That's going to be constant fires. Kremlin has excellent fire resistance until he's put out 5 of them. Then he doesn't have that anymore. Damage cons on a Kremlin are limited. Albert's looking to see if maybe there's something he can do, but the way that these guys are angled, there's not going to be an approach in here. It's just not going to happen. Musashi has broken off from the Massachusetts secondaries. We have intended as working still with control over the 2 caps, although the Albert has parked himself in the cap, blocking the point game. That's going to leave it 1 in favor of intended as working, but the Musashi is continually resetting the Massachusetts. Kremlin being locked down where he is, Musashi of Z-Wraith off in the distance, looking for angles. I guess he sees a few of them. Does he have any shots off this? Does this dig in? Those Musashi guns can rip through the nose of a battleship, but they gotta get in there. It's a chisel off of the FDG, but still point pressure off to RNG. At this point, with only the 1 cap, they do win in 15 minutes, so that's gonna be a while. But the Judge 2107 being pushed off, the Musashi is the bigger badass. And is claiming it for himself. Long-range shots from the Georgia that has actually relocated from A. Coming out, do we have some downtown shells? Nope, just in front of the Massachusetts. Primal Fear being held off by the constant secondary pressure of the FDG. Although as CV Uncle is moving up to keep that pressure up, he's got shells from the mass coming in. Decent chunk, probably about 10, 11k there. No secondary pressure on the mass, but shells out. FTG having pretty decent guns. Not necessarily so accurate, but definitely good enough to get the kill. That's going to be points over to RNG. Only 3 left on the board for BLEP. Cap at B still contested. B Baby is moving over to start taking C and also catch angles. Pretty soon he's going to be able to fire over the island. Probably hit this Musashi. I think the Kremlin's a little too angled, but if he can get a shot on the Musashi, he might actually bite. And that King Albert is just stuck where he is, doing the little bro thing, holding the cap. Any moment now, these shots are coming out. Those shells are going to happen. Oh, wait. Is the Musashi not detected? He is not. Not even when he fires just over the island. He is not, but shells are still out. Nothing there. What is this, WWF? Little delayed in the comment. We have a 5-minute delay going. This is Saturnalia. It's not necessarily a one-off tourney. It's actually kind of a regular season where people can compete over the course of several days. Georgia cutting in wide. Has a nice broadside shot on the Musashi. Musashi not necessarily expecting it. Big thump. Didn't pen. Just didn't make it happen. More shells from the other Musashi and coming in with basically the desperation play. Now I've got the secondaries of the Georgia in on the Musashi. The retreating FTG, who's all the way down to 25k. Just jealously guarding him. The Gangnut actually blocking from the front, trying to give him some additional armor to keep him safe. And looks like at this point, GDJ's King Albert is going to YOLO in there, but Z-Wraith, too many angles, too much happening. He goes down. BLEP is going to be moving up the center. The question is, does he take, or is he able to challenge the FTG to give BLEP at least something on the board here? We've got the Georgia steaming hard and fast, looking to get the crossfires, and the King Albert just doesn't have anywhere else to go. Musashi cells coming in. That's probably going to be the golf clap here. Nope. Big hit, but not big enough. Still challenging the FTG. Secondaries going into him. All of that stuff's going to pen. Is he going to be able to do it? Those guns, they are just not turning. Nope. He's not going to be able to do it. He's going to keep eating secondary fire and actually come into contact with the Gangnut, who still poses a challenge as it's a tier higher, although the Musashi finishes that one off. Now it is 1 ship to 4. Pretty solid commanding lead in the in RNG's favor. Primal Fear and the Kremlin's going to start taking shots from all angle, and I think that one's going to close this out. So let's see what happens if I change this and then save it.
Battle ends in 5 minutes.
Does that update on the stream? Hey, it does. All right.